Stand by SOT1.
Standing.
10 seconds. Ready, rollin'. Ready, SOT1.
Ready.
In 4, 3, 2, 1. Roll in.
From legendary Uncle Studios in beautiful Southern California, welcome to another edition of Work Comp Matters, the central location for you employees, you employers, and of course, we haven't forgotten about you damn independent contractors. And now, here's this week's edition of Work Comp Matters. August 6, 12 noon, straight up. Welcome to another edition of Work Comp Matters. We are brought to you by the workcompcentral.com. If you want the number one location for workers' compensation in both California and around the United States, check out the workcompcentral.com. They've got a free 7-day offer, and if you want to pick up their services, I have them. You should too. It's only $1 a day. Work Comp Matters is also brought to you by A1 Law, number one computer management system, folks. Yes, A1 Law is still used by more workers' compensation attorneys in California than any other system on the planet. 818-357-4120 for your no strings attached money back guarantee. Also only $1 a day. A1 Law. Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Steve Appell. I'm joined by the madman across the water, John Scalia, and my chief of staff, Mike Zyma. Before we start the show today, I want to give everybody a reminder that I am so pleased that tomorrow we have the Honorable Howard Goodman, Judge, retired, on the show. And basically, we're going to be asking him every single question that we've always wanted to, but have been afraid to ask the judge. That is tomorrow. Also, you may recall we reported on the show yesterday that the California Labor Commissioner filed a lawsuit on behalf of 100,000 Uber and Lyft drivers. I immediately contacted the Labor Department's media staff, and there's a good chance, I'm going to say better than 50-50, that we might be getting the Labor Commissioner or a representative of the Labor Commissioner on the show next week to talk about Uber, Lyft, the lawsuit against Uber, Lyft, and AB5. So we are really excited about that. Today's show, as you can see, is called Fascism. And for those of you that are not familiar with the difference between communism and fascism, let me give you a very pragmatic definition of fascism. A governmental system led by a dictator having complete power, forcibly suppressing opposition and criticism, regimenting all industry, commerce, etc., and emphasizing an aggressive nationalism and often racism. Now, what I want to talk about today has nothing whatsoever to do with racism, okay? Doesn't matter what color your skin is, doesn't matter what religion you practice, doesn't matter your origin. It doesn't matter if you're a man, woman, transsexual, transgender, cop. None of that matters, okay? I'm talking about a governmental system where we have a far left liberal mayor, Governor Garcetti, who issued an order yesterday that is completely all the way to the right. And I put it in the category of fascism. And I am going to give you the story right now. During a press conference last night, Mayor Eric Garcetti authorized the city of Los Angeles, that's beautiful Southern California, the city that I'm born and raised in. He authorized the city to shut off power and water to properties, including houses and businesses that are in violation of gathering regulations as a means to shut these places down permanently. By turning off the power, shutting off that water, we feel we can close these places down, which usually are not one-time offenders, but multiple offenders, Garcetti said. Now, of course, I've buried the lead. You all may be questioning, if you haven't seen the news in the past 24 hours, what is he threatening to shut off businesses and residential homes? Well, this authorization comes as the state battles a recent surge in confirmed coronavirus cases. Los Angeles homeowners, as well as businesses, who violate the city's coronavirus-related safety measures may find themselves on the receiving end of some unwelcome consequences. Now, apparently, other states, in New York, for example, Governor Andrew Cuomo has authorized local authorities to revoke the business licenses of establishments with environments in violation of COVID-19 regulations. Well, guess what, folks? I don't live in damn New York City. I live in beautiful Southern California, okay? Now, you want to go ahead and tear down statues of Civil War heroes. You want to go ahead and throw rocks at federal police. You want to conduct graffiti parties on federal buildings. You want to go ahead and protest. You want to go ahead and be a part of Donald Trump's 19,000 person rally where masks are not required, okay? You want to act stupid. I don't care. But you want our government, or our government is now issuing an order to turn off someone's power, business, or residential. This is the United States of America, folks. And I don't think I've ever said Hitler's name on the air before, because I really disdain references to Hitler. But I'm going to reference Hitler. I'm going to reference Mussolini. I'm going to reference Stalin. This is early 19th century European fascism. Where is due process? Where is the Constitution of the United States of America? Mayor Garcetti, who the hell do you think you are? Let me tell you something. I know for a fact that the DWP, the Department of Water and Power, I don't know about the gas company, probably so, but you can not pay your bill for a couple of months. I'm going to say 3 to 6 months, no problem. DWP will not cut you off. You can not pay your rent for 3 to 6 months, and you will not be kicked out of your house. But you decide to throw a party on private property and choose not to social distance, which, by the way, is stupid. It's effing stupid. I don't subscribe to that theory. But where is the due process in turning off someone's house? Now, I realize that over the weekend, we had 2 parties that were in the news, one in Beverly Hills, one right next door to where I live, because I live in Woodland Hills. And there was a party that was in Calabasas, I believe Jake Paul's house. I think the party in Woodland Hills might have been an Airbnb situation. I think the house was rented out specifically for this party. And I have no problem. You want to call the police in, who, by the way, arguably were defunded, but apparently now we need them, okay? You want to call the police in to break up the party? I got no problem with that, okay? If there is some type of federal illegal activities going on, you want to arrest everybody, you want to charge everybody, maybe you want to hold the house in play as a criminal conspiracy. I don't know. but to just arbitrarily, because someone is, quote, a repeat offender, close quote, have the authority or think you have the authority and then issue the order to turn off their power. This is the United States of America, okay? You can't do stuff like that. And I am just fascinated that there are still people, hell, United States, Southern California, in the world that think that COVID-19 is not political and politicized. Yeah, it's a medical issue. Yeah, we want to follow the science. But after this order, if you think for a second that politics are not involved in the COVID-19 situation, then I think you need to educate yourself a little more. I do not subscribe to Mayor Garcetti having this authority. I can't remember ever once power being turned off except for non-payment, okay? We have murderers. We have convicted murderers. We have rapists. We have convicted rapists. We have sex slave organizations operating out of businesses and homes illegally. But I don't recall them ever turning off the power, okay? I do not live in a fascist society. My leader is not Mussolini. My leader is not Stalin. My leader is not Hitler. My leader is the Constitution of the United States of America. And those that were not born United States citizens, but apply and are granted citizenship to the greatest country currently and that has ever been on the earth, they take an oath. And that oath is to defend the Constitution of the United States of America. And what Mayor of Los Angeles, Garcetti, did yesterday, in my mind, is a total violation of the Constitution of the United States of America. Mike, John, take a couple of minutes. Tell me I'm not going to say the S word. I don't know what I'm talking about. You guys agree with me? We'll go on a break, and then we'll hit the news. Mike, it sounds like you wanted to go first.
May I lead off? First of all, the situation in Calabasas, I don't believe there was a party at Jake Paul's house. Rather, the raid was the result of some nefarious activity that had taken place earlier in Arizona. Okay, so there wasn't a party there. With regard to the party that was in Beverly Hills, I'm no fan of Garcetti. I'm a big fan of due process. I understand what you're saying, but in these desperate times, there are situations where there is a compelling state interest. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. As a result of that party, we know immediately that there's one dead from a bullet. I wonder how many new COVID-19 patients there are as a result of that party. It was probably a super spreader. We are probably talking about dozens, which will turn into hundreds. But I understand what you're saying. John?
Yeah, obviously Steve covered a whole lot of issues in his speech there.
I call it a rant, but go ahead.
But in general, I agree with the main point. The main point is due process should be followed. And obviously, a mayor of a town simply saying, I'm going to turn off the power to your house because you're violating the law is not due process. So, yeah, I agree with that. And in terms of politicizing COVID, nobody's politicized it more than Donald Trump, as evidenced by the fact that he's, shunted Dr. Fauci off to the side because Fauci keeps talking science instead of politics. So I agree with the fact that, the disease has been politicized, but the main politicizer is Donald Trump. But yeah, I agree. And your definition of fascism, by the way, I would say that definition applied equally to communism. I don't think there's any difference between the two systems. I think what you read on the air would apply equally to communism. Both systems are the same. They just have different cutesy names.
And I appreciate that. And just in closing on the topic, unless of course you guys want to bring it up later, Mayor Garcetti, who has threatened to turn off the power to houses, remember, it was months, if not weeks ago, that he went with a group, or he participated with a group of hundreds, if not thousands of people in public, and knelt with them. Okay? Just something to consider. My name's Steve Appell. You're dialed into Work Comp Matters. We are brought to you by the workcompcentral.com. If you want the number one location for workers' compensation in both California and around the United States, check out the workcompcentral.com. They've got a free 7-day offer, and if you want to pick up their services, I have them. You should too. It's only $1 a day. Work Comp Matters is also brought to you by A1 Law, number one computer management system, 818-357-4120 for your no strings attached money back guarantee, $1 a day. A1 Law. Well, by internal request, John has the first news story. I've got them, so I'm going to smoke them. Guys, what's up with the news?
California virus fighting efforts hampered by data delays. California has stopped removing or adding to a list of counties facing more restrictions on businesses and schools as it tries to resolve a technical problem with the state's coronavirus testing database, health officials said Wednesday. The state has recorded a highest in the nation, 525,000 positive tests. The California health officials say the true number is even higher. They don't know how much so until they can add backlogged testing data and fix the problem with the California Reportable Disease Information Exchange, that's a mouthful, also known as CalReady. The incomplete data in the nation's most populous state has hampered public health officials' ability to follow up with those who test positive and contact people who have been around them to limit the spread. Back in February and March, when we didn't have enough testing, I would say we felt blind, said Dr. Sarah Cody, Santa Clara County's public health director. I would say now we're back to feeling blind. We don't know how the epidemic is trending. Mike, back to you.
As the coronavirus continues to sicken Californians, the state mistakenly terminated or reduced health insurance benefits for thousands of low-income people. An error involving the state's Medi-Cal program and its automated system for renewals triggered the drops in coverage, despite the governor's executive order earlier this year that was supposed to ensure that people maintain access to safety net programs during the pandemic. And folks, your tax dollars at work. John?
U.S. Supreme Court blocks judge's order that Orange County Jail must take better care of inmates exposed to coronavirus. In a dissenting opinion, 2 justices say the jail, quote, misrepresented its actions to the district court and failed to safeguard the health of the inmates in its care. The U.S. Supreme Court on Wednesday, August 5, blocked a lower court order that the Orange County jail system practice social distancing, distribute hand sanitizer, and keep the facilities clean to avoid the spread of COVID-19. Justices voted 5-4 to stay the earlier order issued by U.S. District Judge Jesus G. Bernal against Orange County Sheriff Don Barnes. The sheriff asked for an emergency appeal after Bernal ruled in May that Barnes had been inconsistent in following federal guidelines to protect jail inmates from the spread of coronavirus. Justices Sonia Sotomayor and Ruth Bader Ginsburg offered a dissenting opinion Wednesday. This court normally does not reward bad behavior, and certainly not with extraordinary equitable relief, they wrote. The injunction's requirements are not remarkable. In fact, the jail initially claimed that it had already implemented each and every one of them. The dissenting opinion noted that the 3,000 inmate jail system had recently reported 15 new cases in a single week. And it goes on, it says the court majority did not explain its ruling. So back to you, Mike.
Actually, Mike, before you go, information hot off the press since John just reported on the Supreme Court. I previously announced on the show that at our own local workers' compensation appeals board in California, there's 23, 24 of them, that video trials, training for judges and or the actual video trials would start August 3. I just received an update today that video trials will start no earlier than August 17th. So hot off the press, video trials at the California Workers' Compensation Appeals Board will start no earlier than August 17th. Mike?
California's legislative leaders are asking the state's judicial council for more time, for more time before renter evictions resume during the COVID-19 pandemic, saying they are facing an impossible decision between rushing legislation and leaving millions of tenants unprotected. Most evictions in the state were suspended in April after California courts stopped processing nearly all cases. The GAV gave the court system the power to stop evictions in an emergency order in late March, intended to allow maximum flexibility in responding to the pandemic. At the time, the legislature was on an extended break to reduce the spread of coronavirus in the state capital. John?
Actually, John, before you get started, Mike, I thought you were engineer of the enterprise, and rather than saying more time, you were saying more power. I got to get more power.
They've snatched the lithium crystals.
There you go. Get me into the Jeffries tubes. John.
Yeah, the next story reminds me of a U.S. senator who's, I believe, deceased now, Senator Proxmire. He was from, I believe, Wisconsin, and he used to award the Fickle Finger of Fate to the biggest government boondoggle program he could find. And with that in mind, I'm going to read the next story. State spent millions on Arena Hospital that saw 9 patients. Doctors arrived at an Arena-turned-medical center in Sacramento in mid-April and were told to prepare for 30 to 60 coronavirus patients to arrive within days. They spent the weekend working feverishly to get ready. State officials envisioned the cavernous sleep train arena and an adjoining facility as a place where hundreds of patients could be treated, but in the first week, just 1 arrived. The pace never increased, and the 250, 250 assembled medical workers, physicians, nurses, pharmacists, and administrative staff found themselves wondering what to do. People began to question within themselves whether they were really needed or not, said Dr. Charles Moore, a retired internal medicine physician who worked there for about 6 weeks. There were no plans for what would happen if you gave a party and no one came. Ultimately, just 9 patients arrived over 10 weeks. The cost to care for them was a staggering $12 million. The Sacramento site was one of 15 temporary medical facilities set up around California in anticipation of a surge of cases that never materialized. It shut down on July 1, as did most others. And I got to admit that was an oldie but goodie. It brought back memories of Proxmire giving his Fickle Finger Award. And back to you, Mike.
California's Attorney General Xavier Becerra is calling on the federal government to increase the availability and decrease the price of remdesivir, the only drug given FDA authorization to treat COVID-19. Because of limited supplies, a National Institute of Health panel recommends prioritizing the drug for hospitalized patients who require supplemental oxygen but are not on ventilators because there is uncertainty about whether those patients would benefit from the drug.
That is funny. Hey, our California Attorney General asking the federal government, i.e. Donald Trump, for a favor. Do you know how many lawsuits our Attorney General has filed against the federal government and now is asking them for a favor? Good friggin' luck. Okay, guys, almost at the end of the show. John, any burning desires, last thoughts?
Nope, I'm done for the day. Except, here comes the judge tomorrow.
I was going to bring that up, but Mike, closing thoughts, burning desires.
Just everybody hang in there.
That's right. Everybody hang in there and don't be friggin' stupid, okay? Tomorrow on the show, I've been looking forward to this for over 4 years. The Honorable Howard Goodman, retired workers' compensation judge, is on. We'll probably go a little long. Show's going to be more than 30 minutes, I will tell you right now, but we will start at noon. Also, I am in communications with the California Labor Commissioner's peeps, and better than 50-50 chance we're going to get the Labor Commissioner or one of her peeps on the air next week. Well, that does it for another edition of Work Comp Matters. I want to thank Scott Walton of legendary Uncle Studios, the Chief of Staff, Mike Zyma, Madman Across the Water, John Scalia, all the good people back at the workcompcentral.com and A1 Law. My name is Steve Appell. We'll see you tomorrow at noon with our special guest, retired Judge Honorable Howard Goodman, on another edition of Work Comp Matters.